It is Carolyn Moor with the Modern Widows Club, and I have a special guest today, Susan Dyson. Welcome,
Good
all the
morning.
way from Seattle, right? Seattle area?
Yeah, yes, I'm.
Yeah, okay. So we had some technical difficulties, so we're going to wait for a few people to come on, and hopefully you'll be able to hear her voice. But I wanted to talk to Susan because Susan found Modern Widows Club after she became widowed, but she learned about our widow empowerment event that we're having in Scottsdale, September 23rd through the 25th. Now, last year it was in Houston, but I'm curious to find out well, first of all, I mean, how did you find Modern Widows Club? And then we can talk about more than likely if you found Modern Widows Club, you're going to find Widow Empowerment event. But I'm just so curious, like, how did that even happen?
Yes, so my husband Mark died of
Mm-hmm.
2020, and a few months after I started Slur, and she actually suggested she about it. But I've had some of my previous clients attend the Seattle Modern meeting. So here's the information out. She goes, I know nothing about it. So I just kind of I didn't think I was ready to grieve with people or what I thought. And so I became one of your website and your social media stalkers. I listened to the videos, and then I saw that you guys, the temporary or the preliminary agenda for widows in Houston, and I said I need to do that. I signed up for met anyone from MWC in Seattle. I had never been to a meeting. So that's how I found you guys.
Okay.
And after I did start going to the Seattle chapter meetings.
Okay. Yeah. So you met Cindy Toledo, which, of course, as soon as you meet Cindy, you're just like, okay, I'm a little more interested now, right?
Yeah.
Because Cindy's so amazing. Cindy's our program support manager. So anyone who well comes to the Seattle community, but also is interested in becoming a community advocate in their particular city, they always go to Cindy first. And Cindy's one of the original 7 members of Modern Widows Club in leadership. So you started going there, and then of course they said there's these local gatherings, but then there's this annual event, which is a completely different experience
Yeah.
because I like to say it's like what we do all year in our communities, we bring to one weekend because some women can't come all year long. They can come a weekend. And so we created this fantastic 2-day event with speakers and a resource hall and sponsors that really care about widows. And so I'm just curious, like, but there must have been something where you said, I just got to go. And in faith, right? Like you didn't know anybody who had gone before except for Cindy,
No.
right?
And when I signed up, I didn't know who Cindy was, so I just didn't care. And I didn't like who I was and where I was. I felt really stuck.
Yeah.
And sad all the time. Full-heartedly believe in counseling and therapy. That was great, but I just knew that my husband Mark, I wasn't the person he didn't like who I was, and it's like I need to give myself an intervention because nobody else is. So reading the descriptions of the speakers and big things, I said I need to go. I need to sign up for this, and I said to myself, what lose? How bad can it be? I have already lived through my worst day of my life. What's the worst that can happen? Maybe I learn something. Maybe I meet some friends through and can relate to me because I was the first real person around in my family who had become a widow in my younger years. So I just said, what the heck? And because it was in Texas, my son had just moved there. So I thought, well, if it's terrible, I'll just go and stay with him. So I just signed up on a whim and a prayer. And I have to tell you, you guys fulfilled that. So for sure.
Yes, it's I think there's some trepidation in pushing the button, click, yes, paying, to come to the event, and then thinking, what did I just do? What did I just do? And that's such a normal response. So you show up, you don't know anyone.
Nobody.
You're in a room full of hundreds of people. You literally don't know anyone. And this is so common for Our Lady's experience. And then we're open. So I want to hear, like, the first day is different than the second day. And who you are when you walk through the doors and who you are 48 hours later. I'm even in shock, but I love hearing from Our Ladies what their personal experience was. And that's what I want to hear from you, because you went from this, I don't know anyone, to what happened.
Yeah, and people are anxious and nervous that they're not going to know anyone and everyone's going to be staring at you. I just have to believe that there's other people like me that are going to be there that are scared.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to the hotel and there's all these women, so you're thinking in this group. And somebody posted on our we group, going out for dinner, and it was the first time they didn't want to be alone. Did anybody want to join? And I said yes. The start of finding the tribe, and you guys talk about. And so I met and went for dinner with these wonderful women all over the country. It was just great to be with them, and they have continued to be my tribe afterward. For that first morning,
yes.
When you walk in and you're sitting at a table, you don't feel like, I don't know, it feels weird, but then your glitter and your sparkle, and you welcomed us. So that first day, it's a fire hose of information, and I think, like, just nodding my head all the time with what people were get it. It was so nice to be in a room where people understood and were there to support and mentor you. But that's for sure. You guys strip it all down, and you're left thinking, oh. But the next
but then don't tell any secrets.
Oh, sorry.
Don't tell any secrets like the activities.
Oh. But it's raw, but it's beautiful. I think it's just no, there's no secrets, because you guys have so many you just have to be prepared, I think, to bear yourself and to learn from others. And to me, it was kind of like starting an exercise program or a diet. You put into it. If you're not going to do the work, you're not going to progress. And so for me, going to and all the exercises and listening to me becoming who I knew I can be.
Well, I love that you said that, who we can be, because I think a lot of widows think, including myself, oh my gosh, including myself at 6 years, being on a TV show and looking in the camera and saying, this is how my life is always going to be. I'm never going to be happy again. It's going to be just one of duty to my children, and there's nothing else for me. I remember having those real raw feelings, and now I see them in other women. And when they come to Widow Empowerment event, I'm so compassionate and empathetic because I see myself. I see myself, literally 15 years ago. And what we pour into Widow Empowerment event really is decades of what widows before you have learned and said, distilled it down to here's some knowledge that you may not understand why you need that knowledge right now, but give it a year or 2 or 5, and you're going to look back and go, I received a great gift for being in that room. Not only that great gift of knowledge, but the widow research we do, the tribe that you find. A lot of times I'll say, honestly, the $349 to come to our event is the best investment in widowhood. And I don't know how to tell people that, right? Because it truly is so unique. And I didn't want some back room. I wanted to be in a beautiful place. I'm an interior designer, so as you guys know, it's like we have a dance party at the end, and the dance party is fantastic, and all the visuals are fantastic, and all the vendors are beautiful, and that's the experience I want for widows to know, that we have gone out of our way to make this the most loving, encouraging, uplifting weekend you never knew you needed.
Exactly. And the first day, or if you get there the day before, you are literally in a room of strangers.
Mm-hmm.
But when you leave, you're in that room, and you absolutely, the support that I've gotten and from you is just incredible. And that's that dollars that continues to give me returns throughout the year, and I will invest again in another one this year.
That's right. And then for you, you actually signed up for Pivot, which was my 6-month mentoring program, and you were ready to even go to the next level after you left, which was fantastic. So I got to spend 6 months with you.
Yes.
From January to June, and get to know you even more, just deeper and more private, right? Because that's where the kind of micro work starts.
Yes.
Because you're only in there with 15 other ladies who are all wanting personal mentoring from me, and that is another very unique experience. But I think the Widow Empowerment event really, truly, I'm in awe. I mean, I sit in the back room when I'm not on stage and just go, I'm learning new stuff. and we pick the speakers purposely for their talents. But then there's the resource hall. I mean, talk about the resource hall a little bit, because I don't think, most widows have never been to an event where there's all these vendors who have resources for you.
Yeah, and it was a wide variety of vendors. You had the folks from Dignity Memorial, who I know are they have, you think of them after the death of somebody beforehand, but they have a tremendous amount of resources for to make that process easier. So I think knowing them now, I think more about the future. You had other authors that have written great books on finance for widows, and there's financial counselors there, spiritual folks who do the palm readings and dreams
hand readings
and aura. So there's those folks, which is a retirement community that's got locations across the country.
Yeah.
If you need to move or a different place to live, that's an option.
One of the things we added this year is a bra fitting. there's a company out of New York City called Soutine, and her mother's widowed. And so that's how she found us. And she's a daughter. And because we invite daughters of widows to come to our event who now have their own track, she was like, I have a business and I care about this cause. And so, that was a new surprise. And I mean, who doesn't need a current bra fitting? Right. So yes, this year we tried to get L'Oreal. We tried to get some larger corporations, and they said no, but we'll keep asking.
This time, you.
No, it's only not now. There is no no in my vocabulary. It's only not now. Yes. So then, the question is then you leave and you go home. Like, what happens? Because when you talked about the return on investment, I think that's a part a lot of people don't talk about. What was the return on investment after you left the event that weekend? And now it's been a year later. It's been a year. Yeah.
For an absolute change my perspective. I felt there were possibilities and opportunities, that I wasn't stuck. And if I was stuck, that was on me. Unstuck is also on me. So I get to choose. Mindset change for sure. And I think I just, I joined it to start the next day. I didn't want to wait another 4 months. But, I went to the Seattle meetings and became more. I took better care of my physical and emotional health. I love one of the things that you've always said is, widow, one of the things is to ask them is, tell me more. And
yes,
I approached my friend groups who weren't widows differently. And I wasn't afraid to talk about Mark and who he was. Like, sometimes you think that nobody wants to hear that they're on, but I talked about him more, and I had purpose in my life. So I've started a fundraiser in memory of my husband. That's been helpful.
Wow.
We had the second one this year, and I have to say, like, my year to this year, just a 180. And you could ask my sisters and my, but it was just the mindset of possibility and potential for a really, without my partner. But
that's right. It's people always ask me, like, what's really kind of happening, and I said, when it comes to widows, there's just a lack of trust. We're vulnerable. The experience is disorienting, and so it's very important that whoever comes in contact with widows, that trust is the first thing that you build. So I think Widow Empowerment Event is the three things that I think are the most important: trust, belonging, and opportunity. And it goes in that order. You do the work to earn the respect and trust of a widow. Then you give her the ability to feel a belonging, right? That's where the understanding comes in. And then you give her opportunity and you let her choose. And in that choosing is it is the empowerment experience. That's why we call it Widow Empowerment Event. Empowerment is being able to give women what they need in order to be able to make the choices that empower themselves. The act of making that choice is actually the empowerment experience. And so we don't come right out and say that, in all of our messaging, because we want women to experience that. And it's very felt. And so what you just said explained and tells me that we fulfilled our mission.
Once you leave, you will be braver, more courageous, more willing to take risks. We've all taken a really crappy, the Dyson didn't roll in our favor in our lives, it means you stop trying.
Right.
I think it's really, and the tribe. Those ladies that I met on my first night, our Zooms, and we've had a couple trips together since the year, and they fulfill me, and I certainly get I hope I give it is great. And so I can't wait to see them again. Wait to meet new people that look like I did last year.
Oh, that's right. So you're going to walk in and you're going to meet some widows who it is brand new. And that's the beautiful healing circle, because you see how far you've come, but you also see where you were, and you cannot help but having empathy and compassion for those women. And that's I think the unique difference of the Mounted Widows Club is you always have this place to look for hope, to find healing, to grow, to even then lead, right? And that is so important. It's like why we always talk about legendary widows, because women like me need to be inspired. I still need to be inspired in a certain way. And so so then I get inspired by that and I share it, and that's resilience building. We know that finding that purpose and meaning and giving back, mentoring is truly the cycle of healing. You can learn and you can implement and you can gain, but until you are ready to give it back, the circle isn't complete. And so you're going to experience it completely different this year. And of course, I can't wait to see you. We spent 6 months online together, but it's not the same as being in person. It really is. Those who show up will receive the gift. And for anybody who's watching this, we do have some scholarships, and several of our widows give scholarships so widows can come. If the $349 is a struggle for you, we understand that, because financial insecurity is a big big roadblock for our ladies. And so we go out into the community and we do everything possible to make sure that you can actually walk through that door, experience what Susan just shared. We wish thousands of widows around the world, and wish we could go to every state. We're not there yet, but we are able to do this once a year virtually in the spring, and which is just online, but then in person in September. So thank you, Susan, for sharing. I really appreciate it. There was a little bit of break in what you were saying, but I could hear, and I think everybody could hear what you were saying. It wasn't as bad as when we first tried with the tech issues, but there were a few cutouts. So don't be upset. I could still totally understand everything you were saying.
Just do it. Seriously. It'll change your life in a great way.
Yeah. Thank you, Susan. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody. See you. Bye.